Hey, I hope everybody's doing good. My phone battery is kind of low. Just kind of just living life and doing things and trying to cope. Kind of went through a series of difficult things where I had a counselor and suddenly she wasn't my counselor anymore, and I was supposed to go make an appointment with a psychiatrist, and I had to help me deal with crying and everything. I assume just PTSD, just things today, stirring up feelings from times that have passed, and really intense feelings. So I was hoping to get medicine to help me cope with it. But anyway, so I made an appointment in July, late June, early July, and I showed up to it was supposed to be an online kind of thing, and it was just a whole bunch of bullshit. And then in the end, the person didn't meet with me, and then suddenly they also didn't take my insurance. And these kind of things have happened. Last year, I tried for 3 months to get a mammogram. Suddenly this year, this company, I complained about this actually to a couple of people, and then suddenly this company just happened to get my number and call me, and they were gonna schedule me an appointment. But I was supposed to get a mammogram for somebody who's experiencing pain, which is supposed to be bilateral, and I'm small chested, so it doesn't make sense to do the roller machine thing. They're there's not much to put in here. So anyways, I didn't end up getting a mammogram because they weren't, and then suddenly I had 2 or 3 physicians refer me to get mammograms in the past year and a half. But then whenever I go to get the mammogram, suddenly it's a walk-in facility, but then suddenly it becomes an appointment-only facility, and then it's 6 or 8 weeks out. And then whenever I go, they don't take my insurance. So you see, this is a repetitious pattern. And I don't know, I think it's just something just lasers basically on my body just to try to make me look gross or something. It seems weird that would be a weapon of war. Super strange things have happened. Anyway, so it's just I was super discouraged after that happened. I had been staying with someone and doing work with them, and it was that I started staying with them on a Friday, and Monday suddenly my counselor couldn't meet with me. Friday the psychiatrist couldn't meet with me, and Thursday my phone suddenly didn't work anymore. And it was just I don't know, it's really weird. And the week before that, maybe it was the week before that, maybe it was even that same week, my court case got dismissed on the basis of jurisdiction. And it was one of those things where you have 2 weeks to respond, and if you don't respond in 2 weeks, we're going to make this decision. Well, I had already told the court that anything they send to me takes 2 weeks to a month for me to receive it. So if you tell me to respond in 2 weeks, it's probably a month later whenever I get that. So I'm smiling now. It's been a rough couple of weeks. And just kind of coping with some of the things that I high level trauma that I deal with if I'm living in a house. Which of course, sleeping in the car is super scary because I'm a woman and it's super scary. But there are things that are really scary about living in a house too, and that are hard, high level, difficult to cope with. I was talking to a friend of mine this week, and she was talking about Sasha. She was talking about like feeling like no matter what decision you make, it's going to be the wrong decision. That like you have, like almost like you're forced to make some decision, but like no matter what it is, it's not like each outcome is a negative outcome. And I was dealing with a lot of feelings like that, feelings that like things have happened to me that have caused me a lot of difficulty and just like really intense feelings. But then if I try to get like help to cope with those feelings, like the same system that did that shit to me keeps me from getting help. And just like feeling like, you know, like I bought the lie that I live in some place where there's freedom and justice, and I thought that my experience was unique. And now I think that my experience is a truth and what I believed was a lie. And that most of the people that I meet live in some variation of the same situation. Or in some form or fashion, where like I'm told that like even presidents get prosecuted if they commit crimes. But the reality is, my government has protected my abusers and even caused them to abuse me. And that since I was a child, when I was a child. And just like feeling like those ugly, helpless feelings, like I couldn't protect myself when I was 5, and like feeling like a lot hasn't changed since then, like, and some things have changed, you know, some things have changed, but just like those feelings of helplessness, of like not being able to really help myself, feeling like I can't, like someone's claiming some kind of jurisdiction over my life so that I can't like get housing. I've worked for humanitarian aid organizations, I know how they work, and feeling like the resources are for people but not for me. And part of that is why I stopped working for humanitarian aid organizations, because I felt like I couldn't help the me that needed help. Like that person was just calling and getting answering machines if their calls went through at all. And that's what it feels like. It feels like, you know, on the surface there were people that were involved in the things that happened to me, but the reality of the situation is I was put into the care of the person who I later knew as my father. And in December I remembered being sexually abused by somebody who looked a lot like him. And I don't know, I remember being in some place, some facility that wasn't a hospital, but I've told myself my whole life it was a hospital. And I remember when I saw his face, I kicked him in the face, and I was like 3 or 4 years old. And I don't know what would make me respond that way. And the sexual abuse that I just remembered in last December, like, I wonder if, I mean, someone put me into his care. Someone told me you're going to get a mother and a father, and only he showed up to get me. And I wonder if he did that to me before then, and they just put me right back into his hands. And that's very possible. That is very possible that that's exactly what happened. And unfortunately, I don't remember the sequence of events. My memory of the sexual abuse, like the man looked like my father, but he wasn't as tall, and that's super hard to explain. Anyways, my phone's gonna die. Deep breaths.